All right, this video is going to upset a lot of people, and I understand why, but I'm going to go over why courses don't work. All right, so this is going to be probably one of the more unpopular videos. And the reason I put these videos out is to give value for those of you who are really serious about learning to trade, because we've built a platform based on a vast array of statistics, behavioral patterns. We've analyzed that data and we've come up with a very, very solid concept and structure that allows traders to excel. And this video is really going to give you some insights into some of the secrets we've learned, and this video is going to be on why courses don't work. There is a huge failure rate in traders, and one of the main reasons is because they take a course, someone sold them a course, they've taken the course, and they've got, without even knowing, the course might have sound information, by the way, but without even knowing it, they are about 93% likely to fail in their endeavor just by taking that one course. So I'm going to share with you some secrets and insights into why that is. So the first one is direction. When you take a course, you don't really know the structure. You don't know where you should start from. You might be at a different level. Everyone's at different levels when they start to take a course, and you don't quite know where you fit. So you either start off halfway through because you think you know some of it. There's no one sort of telling you, actually, you might miss something in here that's key to later on down the line. And you can't ask questions. You probably get an FAQ when you purchase the course, but there's no questions, there's no interaction, so there's no direction. There's no one guiding you through the course. There's no one really getting an understanding of where you are, what your prerequisites are, what level you're at, whether you're intermediate or novice, or you know a little bit. So you're sort of off on your own, and there's no guidance or structure to the course. The second reason is the D.D.G. Now, this is something that your brain does, and it's called delete, distort, and generalize. And this is extremely dangerous to your learning inside a course without you even knowing it. So deletion, what the brain does is it deletes anything that it thinks isn't important. Now, that is a massive drawback, and it can be very, very timely and costly, making those mistakes by sort of bypassing things that are very important, and then you later on have to go back and realize what you've left out. The brain just deletes things that it doesn't feel that are important based on your previous knowledge and your previous experiences. And it's similar with distortion. This is a massive, massive problem. Where the brain distorts things and sorts of fills in gaps. So if you was to go and watch a film, for instance, that you've watched before, you will notice things in that film that you didn't notice when you first watched it. But when you watch it the third time, you're still going to notice things that you didn't see in the second time. And it's because the first time you watch it, and the second time you watch it, and even the third time you watch it, your brain is still distorting and filling in gaps of information and making assumptions based on what your previous experiences and what you know up until this point in your mind to this day. So it will fill in the gaps, and the information that it generalizes and fills in isn't right. It isn't necessarily correct. So this is where you think that you've learned something. You'll just watch it once, move on to the next one, watch that one once, move on to the next one. And it's really dangerous because you haven't actually taken in half of the information in the videos or the course material. And it's because your brain is generalizing, and people very rarely go back to do it again. They think that they've got it, and then they get later on down the line and realize that they've completely fluffed it. So that's something that your brain does that you can't even control. You're not even aware of it. There's tips and habits and tricks that you can build into your life that will help you with it, but you don't know you're doing it when you're taking a course, and it really goes against you when you're trying to learn something. The next thing's a big one, accountability. So when you take a course, I mean, most people buy a course and don't even open it. They don't even log in. They'll buy a course and put it on the shelf. They won't actually start the course. So first of all, there's no accountability for you even starting the thing. But second of all, there's no one watching you. There's no one seeing what you're up to. There's no one monitoring how fast you're going through the course so they can go, hold up, you're going a bit quick there. I think you've rushed, you've jumped ahead. There's no one tracking how many questions you've asked, how engaged you've been in learning the content. And there's absolutely no accountability for you to even succeed at all. There's no one there that even cares. You've just bought the course, you've paid the money, they've got their money, and you're out the door, and there's no one cares. So it's all on you. So it requires absolute self-accountability, which is hard. So the next thing is, when you buy a course, you very rarely get any sort of tools to track your education, to plan your education. Not many courses come with some kind of tool that will allow you to play around, get used to the technical tools that you're going to use in the course. Whether that's, we're talking about trading here, but it could be carpentry, beautician, hairdresser, whatever it might be. If you don't have the tools, you can't really practice and progress on what you're learning. Not only that, they rarely come with tools to track your own progress. So a tool whereby we're talking about deletion, distortion, and generalization. Well, how do you measure that? How do you control that? How do you even know that you're ready to move on? So there's rarely any tools that will allow you to tick off your progress and allow you to move on and basically force you to tick a box that says, yes, I understand this. Not only have I just watched it and read it, but yes, I understand this, and now I can move on. The problem is, if you don't do that, is people they get a course, they try and forward engineer the past. So they know what they're looking at, and they're trying to build their success as a trader going forward. What they don't do is look at the future and try and backward engineer that. And that's where the planner comes in. Because if you imagine you was trying to build a car, if you wanted to build a car to go 200 miles an hour for 500 miles, okay, what you wouldn't do is you wouldn't take a BMW and go, right, let's add some different tires to this, let's add a different engine, let's add some different brakes, and try and sort of makeshift something that's already failed, it's already broken. You can't forward engineer the future of something that's already broken. Whereas if you said, right, we want to do 200 miles an hour for 500 miles, what is the best engine for that? And then you start to design the thing to get to the outcome in the first place. That's what a planner does. That's what tools do when they're equipped with your course. It would be no good sending a carpenter out into the world after reading a book with no hammer or no saw. And then finally, there's no nuances. You don't pick up any nuances. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you just take a course, if you think about a conventional apprenticeship, let's just say we're an electrician, okay? When you go to, because I went to college, I was an electrician, and when you go to college to become an electrician, you do something called a block release. So you go to college and you do some theory. Okay, and then part of that work at college is some practical. So you go into these nice test bays where it's all safe, everything's laid out perfectly, nothing ever goes wrong, and you can do some practical applications, and everything usually works. So you've got the theory and you've got some practical knowledge. But then you go out onto site, and that's where you pick up the nuances. That's where you get the electric shocks. That's where you get the drill going through the cable, and you have to deal with that. That's how you get the fault finding. That's how you pick up the breathing patterns of the field that you're studying. Without that, you are very, very likely to fail, because that is really where you start to learn. Obviously, you need the theory, but you also need the nuances. Most people try and go out on site before they've done the theory, and that's when they blow their account, those speculation, those speculative devils. But that's not the way to do it. What you need is the nuances with the course. So you need to be able to look over someone's shoulder in the real world and go, Oh, okay. I know I'm learning, but you know, I've noticed you do that, so I'll take a note of that. What will happen if how does that apply? How does my learning apply to that? How can I put a contingency plan in now for when I go out in that big bad world? So those are the 5 things. We're talking about direction and order. We're talking about deletion, distortion, and generalization, which your brain does without you even knowing. We're talking about accountability. No one's even making you do it, let alone making sure you go about it in the right way. We're talking about the tools and the structure, the planner, and not trying to forward engineer the past, but backward engineer the future. And finally, we're talking about nuances. So hopefully you can relate to some of this. If any of you have taken a course or been sold a course, comment below and let us have your feedback. Let us have your feedback on the course and how it helped you, and if it helped you or what you struggled with, or if you can relate to any of these 5 points. Give us a thumbs up. These videos are here just to help you. I know this isn't, this is not going to be the most popular one because many people go out and buy courses, but this is exactly why we didn't just develop a course and sell a course, because we know from stats that they don't work. So till next time, hope you found it valuable. Give it a thumbs up, give it a share, and I'll see you then.